Hey everybody, welcome to another 10 Ton Hammer Talks. Yeah, pretty excited about this show. I've been wanting to get back in touch with Firefall for a while now, so I'm pretty excited to check back in, see how things are going, and yeah, find out what's new for 2016. I saw quite some news posts and stuff like that that looked really intriguing. Some stuff from earlier in development, jet ball and stuff, all that kind of stuff. So it looks to be pretty exciting, but anyways, if you're not familiar with 10 Ton Hammer Talks, we've done quite a few past episodes. This is number 20. We have a lot of other ones if you guys want to go check them out. But yeah, my co-staffer here, Jeremy, we're just now, this is our very last episode, moving on from 10 Ton Hammer, but we've done quite a few episodes. We were excited about them. Hope you guys enjoy them, the ones that we have done. And if you guys enjoy this show, go ahead and give us a follow on our personal Twitters and see where we land next. But yeah, I'll go ahead and kick things off. Obviously, I know a lot of you are here not to see not to see either one of us necessarily, but yeah, to see our special guest we have today. So I'll go ahead and introduce the community manager for Firefall. Frank, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Maybe there are some people here who might not know you from our audience.
Hey guys, what's going on? Yeah, I'm community manager for Firefall. I've been with the company for, um, I've been with the community for 5+ years. I've been officially employed by Red 5 for over 4 years now, and it's been a wild ride with everything. And I'm excited about all the things we're doing, and I'm really excited to continue moving forward with Firefall and Red 5 Studios.
Awesome. Yeah. Welcome to the show. We're happy to have you. We're pretty excited. Sorry, just getting a couple tech things here, making sure audio is good. But yeah, so I have been following Firefall for quite a while. Back when I actually had got into 10 Ton Hammer probably about 6 months to 8 months before Firefall actually did its official launch. So I hadn't really been paying attention to the MMO industry. I wasn't really familiar with Firefall during all of its development. But yeah, I actually went down to the studio to go check it out right before launch, and it was dramatically different from the previous development stuff that everybody, my fellow coworkers at 10 had told me about. So, and I really had a blast with the game. So it was pretty cool to see that come off, and it's been, gosh, like almost it's a year and a half, coming on almost 2 years now since that first launch. But
Yeah.
you guys have had a lot of updates. Can you talk about kind of, I don't know, your first year after launch, what you guys thought of it? You being the community manager, how has the community reacted to the changes in the game since how it was in development?
That's a really interesting question because when you look at Firefall's history, um, we were very openly iterated upon the game. Even like the core systems of the game, we've openly iterated upon that. And looking at the community, there's like a group that liked one iteration or another, and you can't say any of them are wrong. I mean, I think all of the iterations we've done were good, but the one we settled on for the launch was a direction that the team decided to go. They felt like that would be the best direction to go for the future of the game, and we went ahead and we had three major content updates after that launch, and at the same time, we were also starting to work on player feedback from that launch. We had a lot of bugs, we had a lot of issues, we had a lot of areas where players are dropping off, and we want to look at how we want to address that. So we started iterating on the game as we always do, and this update that's coming out, which is actually next week, is pretty much a culmination of that iteration. We're not necessarily taking the game in a different direction. It's more of continuing to refine, the direction we chose on for launch. There are some pretty drastic changes in there, but it's still very much going in down the same path that we set out to when we launched the game.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool to watch so far. I've been in it a lot. I really enjoy it. It has some really unique things, I think, and for people who aren't familiar with Firefall, just the way you guys are taking your approach to a persistent world, doing a little bit of dynamic spawning and things to kind of really add some difference to and an infusion of some new stuff to the genre. Also, the way that you have all the different battle frames and suits set up to where it's really reminiscent of kind of like Final Fantasy 15. They also were experimenting with this, and obviously, not to say anyone from anyone
Right.
else, but one thing that I think is important for people to understand too is that parallel development in the gaming industry is a really big thing. Obviously, developers are playing the games. They're playing all these games, so they're going to see issues in the industry, and they're going to try and solve those issues. And sometimes you see people come up
Right.
with similar solutions. So I'm really excited to see you guys kind of take on something like that. I've always felt like persistent world games really struggled as far as people grouping up and doing things together, and the social mechanics from not, from having that level barrier of entry. So, eliminating that in a lot of ways with your, multiple frames, leveling them separately has been really cool. I think, at least from my experience in the game, being able to link up with people, especially having friends come in late,
Mhm.
was really easy to do, and I found that as a really enjoyable part of the game, getting some of that social aspect back and fewer barriers, I would say, to how you can interact with your friends in there.
Yeah, definitely. You bring up the social aspect, and that's something that's really, really important to us. It may not be nearly as strong or nearly what we want it to be in this update, but everything we do moving forward is about, you know, the um, the social aspect of the game and like getting players to play together. Obviously, there's something to be said for the people that want to solo and lone wolf. There's definitely that those group of people that are looking for their fix as well. But and we want to provide that. But yeah, the social experience is really something that's going to be really important to us moving forward.
So let me ask you, because you mentioned, that there are obviously people that, prefer to play solo as opposed to a group. When you're looking at the game, do you have like, say, statistics you can look at kind of behind the scenes for what percentage of players? It's always interesting to me in MMOs because I know, or any MMO type game, you do see both, kind of subset of players. And do you have, say, I mean, it probably varies game by game, but say for Firefall specifically, do you have kind of an idea of what percentage of the community, prefers to play with one or just two, or what percentage is looking for a larger group of friends?
I don't have exact numbers. We are tracking that, but I don't have a report on that per se. We haven't pulled those numbers exactly, but I would go by my feel, and it's a small enough group, but I mean it's still an important enough group that because I feel like it. I mean, you have like the two kinds of players where I'm kind of this way where it's like I enjoy grouping with other people. I enjoy doing group content like instances, but when I'm running around the open world, I kind of like to be left to my own devices, which the community makes very difficult for me. They like to find me, chase me down, and shoot me in the face. But and I love it. I'll go AFK and they'll just push me around on LGVs and pump me across the map. It's turned into an event of sorts. But yeah, to get back onto the point, yeah, I think just based on my observations, engaging with players in game and the forums and social media, that it's a fairly small uh, group of people. It's definitely not like by small I mean it's not your majority, but it's definitely big enough to warrant the fact that you have to consider them when you're building your content.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely something that seems to be like a more prominent thing nowadays. I was talking with another developer a while ago about kind of this concept of bringing back social elements and how do you balance your multiplayer versus your solo play. And we were just talking about how kind of this idea of parallel play has become really popular for in the MMO RPG realm where players just enjoy that they can play this game either by themselves or with a couple other people, but just they have this persistent long-term progression alongside a lot of other people, and they have the opportunity to interact when they want to. So it's an interesting thing to me My personal taste is always social, super social situations. I do solo when I need to, but I love being in groups, so it's always interesting to try and understand the other half on the solo side. But it's interesting because I think that parallel play concept kind of bridges the gap between social and solo play, and I think MMOs kind of really they're in that, they're in the mix of both places. So it's that's where I see a lot of Firefall landing. World of Warcraft seems to also land there too, trying to balance the social dynamics. You guys, I actually was really cool. I don't know how many people are in the audience that uh, know about Firefall, but you guys did something kind of pretty interesting with some of your raids and stuff. Well, I don't say raids, but your basically your big boss content is kind of interesting, sort of like a short duration raid, I would say. So it makes it a little bit, I would say, in my opinion, it makes it a little bit easier for somebody who may not have the time or uh, the time to get into raiding in an MMO. That's really actually accessible to anybody.
Yeah, the Titan battles are it's just a single boss fight. So right now it's Kanalo and Baneclaw, which are actually going to be taken offline when this update comes out. But we're going to have a new one, Defensive Dredge, and those two are only getting taken offline until we retool them to fit the new model. Um, but we'll have that one fight. But yeah, it's all about it's pretty short. It's a short experience. I mean, I tried to. I did Defensive Dredge. I was streaming right before this show on our main channel. We do a show every Friday. I do a stream with the community, and we were doing the Defensive Dredge raid on PTS, and I think for the better half of 40 minutes we couldn't get past the first doorway.
Oh, very
But
nice.
yeah, it wasn't really a balanced group, but it's a lot of fun, and I think our community's ready for a challenge like that anyway.
That's pretty awesome to hear. Um, yeah,
But
for
yeah, also super accessible. Like you said, Kanalo, you only have to complete like a couple missions and you're in. For the hardcore versions, you just have to complete the normal version and you're in. Defensive Dredge, you just need to be maximum level. You can go in there, just grab 10 people and have at it and see how you do.
That's interesting that you mentioned bringing down temporarily the current boss battles and bringing up the new one because of the changes. So we can just jump right into that topic a little bit. I think there's probably a ton to talk about there. So
Oh
um,
man,
you guys
I
are
got it all in front of me.
basically retooling so much of the combat and kind of the way it feel. I would say, at least from what I've read and kind of read on the forums a little bit, is that really the big change is a lot in the pacing. The pacing will be different because of how your abilities are going to be respec. So go ahead. I'm not going to direct you in any certain way with questions like what are you guys doing with it?
So right now, and we know within our community, like the combat iteration that we're going through, we know it's a really hot issue. So we're paying close attention to what they're saying. Obviously, we don't want to make any um, knee-jerk changes, but we're paying very close attention to what they're saying. And um, this isn't what we're doing now isn't by far the final thing. We're gonna continue to iterate moving forward based on metrics and their feedback. So basically, player actions and also what they're saying. So it's a lot of really making sure that the combat experience is polished, and we made a decision to um, drastically reduce the cooldowns of all the abilities so that you can use your abilities more often. Because one of the pieces of feedback we got, even back in the day, like one of the things people really liked was like, abilities are fun. Hey, abilities are fun. We want to use them more. So we drastically reduce the base cooldowns, and you can actually mod them to get even lower. So that's one of the areas that we are paying attention to with these abilities. The other thing is clear the message, and that doesn't mean that usually gets mistaken for like dumbing it down more or less, to use the common term, but it's not really about that. It's more about clearly messaging like clearly communicating visually or with audio, and what this ability is actually doing for the player or to the other player. Um, so really refining that so that it's easy to read. You know exactly what's going on in the heat of combat, and polishing it and making it feel like a fun and clean experience.
Yeah, I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I was just gonna say that I think something like that is important. As you said, sometimes, maybe some might get the wrong idea, but if you look, throughout, not just any one specific genre, just, clarity of exactly what's happening in a game, especially, when it's not a solo experience, when it's a lot of players involved, being able to take, not just knowing it because you know it, but having, as you said, some audio or visual cues, for really getting a feel for it, I think is actually quite important, and it's a very good thing that you guys are doing there.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I was gonna say, with the way you guys are kind of what you're talking about, really refining how things are communicated. It's really, I look at, WildStar had done like this thing with the telegraphing, and I think
Hmm.
they went a little overboard there as far as, like showing everything that's happening. But it, Jeremy and I are both really familiar. We're big League of Legends players. We're both really
Hmm.
familiar with that game, and I think it's one of the best games out there as far as this specific topic we're talking about. Clearly communicating both to the player what your ability is going to do, and then also too with the animations and sound how that's going to come across, and and how it's affecting the actual uh, current situation or the battle. So I was going to ask you, have you guys gotten any inspiration from? I mean, MOBAs have kind of really emerged in the last few years, I would say. There's always been the Dota, and, we've had League of Legends has been around for quite a while, but the last few years, there's been a lot of other MOBAs. Have you guys drawn on inspirations because you guys have kind of a similar thing in like a few abilities that happen on top of basic attack type combat with obviously FPS shooting?
Yeah, I mean, we've drawn influences from Firefall from a lot of different games and even genres. Like we are a shooter, we are an MMO. We do use abilities. The abilities are, they are pretty similar to like how we do MOBA, or like how MOBA abilities are typically laid out. So, but it's also important to keep in mind of our competitors, and what they're doing. Not necessarily competitors, but even peers, like what they're doing, and in terms of communication. So, like you said, League of Legends, or the way Riot clearly messages, what's going on, what's happening in the battlefield. Blizzard is also a company that's known for um, really keying on that, and it's something that you know it's not necessarily like looking up to, but it's like it's more of like an agreement of like we agree with these guys, these are important things, and it's almost proven that you have to make sure that things are communicated in a very clean fashion, so that it's easy for new players and veterans to understand exactly what's going on at a moment's notice, because you know when you're playing Firefall, when you're playing PvP in Firefall, PvE in Firefall, um, it's it just happens so fast, and you just need to know what's going on.
Yeah. One of the things that really kind of stood out to me when I was kind of, after I put a little bit of thought into what you guys are trying to do with your combat, reducing cooldowns and stuff like that, what strikes me really is that, if you're reducing the cooldowns to abilities, obviously those abilities are going to happen more often. And I think,
Mhm.
with the way Firefall is designed, you guys have a lot of your class identity comes from those abilities. So do you guys feel like the changes you're making now are really kind of increasing that kind of role, like the class role by players, making them feel like they're actually fulfilling a specific role, and some of the more basic shooting getting a little bit less like emphasis, I should say. I don't know. I don't really know how I'm phrasing the question here, but do you guys feel like your combat changes are actually heightening how each individual role feels to the player?
Yeah, absolutely. The weaponry and gunplay is still very important. But yeah, the abilities, and we've adjusted the passive stats of Battleframe, so the dreadnoughts move slower than everybody else. The recons are the lightest, so they move faster than everybody else. The engineers have more jet energy, or is it jet energy recharge? Um, I'm still getting used to a lot of the changes as well. But so we have those like base stats that are kind of defining the archetypes, and then we have like the 10 advanced battle frames, and um, yeah, the abilities really set them apart. Like you have your two dreadnoughts, your mammoth, and your rhino, and the mammoth's abilities are, using them more often. You can tell like that mammoth is totally meant for group support defense while dishing out damage, and the rhino is the way its abilities are laid out are full out offensive. Like they're the damage dealer of the dreadnought group. And then when you look at your engineers, you have your bastion, which is all about deploy support. So they have their turrets and shields, and you have the electron, which is more of like offense slash support, where you have your um, bulwark, where the engineer's shield is a deployable shield. I'm sorry, the bastion shield is a deployable shield, but your electron is a buff that emits from the electron and hits nearby allies and gives them damage mitigation. And then their abilities, boomerang shot, it goes through and debuffs and damages enemies, but if it hits allies, it buffs and reduces the damage that they take. So still both support roles, but very different in the way they approach the support methodology.
Yeah, it seems like it's the changes are really kind of reinvigorating, I guess, the game with some of that class identity. And then too, you mentioned obviously a few. You mentioned specifically how the movement's been adjusted for the Dreadnought, stuff like that, to really reflect kind of that what they are. But also too, the from what I was reading, that the actual all frames are going to get some mobility abilities to where movement and positioning kind of plays a bigger role now as well.
hmm Yeah, so yeah, every frame is getting some sort of movement ability. Basically, the assault always had afterburner, and it was always seen as like, well, the assault's awesome because it has afterburner. You just fly around the battlefield with it. And we're like, hey, you know what? And that was always seen as like the assault is like really favorite and like one of the always more powerful frames because it could move so quickly like that. And we're like, hey, why don't all of the frames have their own take on movement? So the biotechs received an ability, which I think is like a converted Tiger Claw ability, and they basically buff allies movement speed and rate of fire for a short duration, and their self, of course, so they can activate that as their travel ability. The rhinos can charge, which is a burst in the direction they're facing. Unlike Afterburner, it's only you can only go X and Y, whereas Afterburner you can go in any direction you're facing. Um, the engineers have unlimited energy, I believe, and for a short duration, so they can actually probably traverse cliffs better than anyone. And you have your recons, which have their teleport beacon.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have just a ton of stuff coming, and we haven't even got onto the topic of Jetball quite yet. And
Oh
before
man.
before we do that, what so far? Obviously, you guys have just kind of revealed this information lately. Obviously doing some stuff in the test server. But what has the community reaction been so far to the test environment and to the changes you guys have kind of talked about having coming up this year?
I'd say overall it's a mixed bag. I mean, usually when you come in and you have a launch game like we do, and when you come in and you make the changes we do, no matter how good our intentions are, it gets into a pretty volatile area, and we understand that moving into this update. But we think we're doing what we can for the good of the game and the future of the game. Um, so, but it's still important to understand their feedback. So while we change the model, we're still taking in their feedback and making sure that we can make adjustments when necessary while keeping within the model. That as we're moving forward. So it's been a really mixed bag. There's a lot of people that uh, hate it. There's a lot of people that really love it. There's a lot of people that are like, eh. Um, and it's to be expected, especially when you do massive changes, because we're used to one way, and then we start talking about the way things change, and it's really difficult to get even for us to get like a big picture grasp, which is why it takes so long to for these changes to happen. Um, so I see some people, we love it in chat, and it's like
Yeah,
yeah, I mean that's pretty much how it went.
yeah. I feel like you know players, especially when you have like your hardcore fan base that's always in the game, playing it all the time. To some extent, a lot of those people are going to have tunnel vision, and they're going to just like what they currently have, and not like to, everybody kind of hates change to some degree, but change is what creates progress and growth. And I think when it comes to game design, specifically game projects, if you're not constantly evolving, you're falling behind. So I like that you guys are, daring to make some really big changes and in what you view is going to be actually be better for the game and make the play experience funner. And I've always thought too that the hardcore fan base is gonna they may hate it initially and then they'll eventually, kind of get on board with it and stuff, and you'll get, or at least for the ones who are kind of the naysayers, they'll get on board. But also, too, I think a big thing to kind of point out is for anybody watching, you know, a lot of what you see on forums or negative reactions and the whole Reddit thing. A lot of times, the people who have negative perceptions or negative things to say about a game are the most vocal. So you got to take those things with a grain of salt because the people who are enjoying the game, they're probably not going to be going to comment about it because they're playing the game. Whereas the people who aren't enjoying it, they're going to have plenty of time to just sit there and kind of load the forums and stuff like that, or whatever else. So just something definitely, and that goes for any game, any forum. You kind of get that run of the mill, but
Yeah.
yeah. So moving on. Sorry, moving on into Jetball. This is something that it's going to be a lot of you talking because I never got to be a part of previous Firefall before you guys' launch last year, or sorry, 2014. So I have no idea what Jetball is like, what it's about, and obviously I'm not in the test environment, so I haven't gotten a chance to touch it at all. So can you kind of give maybe a quick history of Jetball before you go into what you guys are currently doing with it?
Oh man, so Jetball. It's my favorite game mode that we've implemented. It's a lot of fun. It's an objective based game mode. It's stayed largely the same. A lot of the rules have changed. The map has changed, but it stayed largely the same. The goal is you have a 5-on-5 team, and you have a ball that spawns in the center at the beginning of the map, and your team's objective is to get that ball, move it down into the enemy territory, and put it through the goal on the enemy on the opposing side. Um, so that's the basic objective. It's a lot of fun. Um, the history was we actually had some go for Firefall ESL tournaments go for it. There was a lot of again, it wasn't perfect, but it was a lot of fun, and it was heading in a good direction. But we ultimately decided to bring that offline so that we can, because we really wanted to work on um, really like polishing it. But that decision was made, whether you know who liked it, who didn't. But we're really excited to bring it back, and it's coming back as a PvP preview. So what this is arena PvP actually wasn't meant to come in with this update, but we pushed it up because we really wanted to get some feedback on it, and it's going to be more or less a PvP preview. And we had a choice of doing team deathmatch or jetball, of which one we wanted to push up into this update. And I was like, please let it be jetball. And so happy we got it, because this is the one that I'd say the PvP community has their, they'll speak most fondly of. Like you said, like you hear about it and it's like, oh man, you missed out. But um, the yeah, I'm just really excited because it's a really fun game mode. Some tuning we did to it. Previously, the map used to have HKM power ups, which was super contentious. It was super powerful because assaults would just grab those really quick and shockwave a whole team down by themselves. Uh, we took those out in this new iteration. The map's a lot smaller. Um, Again, we've adjusted the combat so that it's probably more approachable um, for newer players. Again, we want it to be our main focus is that it's fun and accessible. We want people to be able to play it and get in there and have fun. All arena PvP is balanced completely separate from the open world, and you can actually get in there right from level one. Like right when you create your character and log in, you'll be dropped in the battle lab, and if you really wanted to, you can queue for PvP right there, and you'll play with regulated gear and a regulated kit with everybody else of any level and earn rewards right from the get go.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, kind of what it makes me think of a lot, and I don't know if maybe Rocket League got some ideas from early iterations of Jetball from you guys, but it really reminds me of this arcadey type feel, kind of going back to an arcade style of play, which I think if there's any drawback to any big, complex, persistent open world MMO, it's just there's so much complexity and depth, that kind of bringing in our arcade game mode is a huge plus to it because it gives something that's easy for people to kind of pick up and play with. And I actually wasn't even aware of the being able to play it from level one, like you mentioned. So I mean that just is basically exactly what you would want really with a game mode like that, to bring it in, let people play it right away, and if they get hooked on it, they really like it, and then maybe they start exploring some of the more open world, in-depth stuff that they might not have gone as far into before. So really cool choice. I'm actually really excited to see that and see how it plays out. I'm definitely going to be checking it out as soon as I can. So
Yeah, we thought it'd be really cool, just because we know that like when there's people that play MMOs, there's people that play purely to PvP as well, and being able. So when you play Jetball in our PvP preview, um, you at the end you'll be able to get XP rewards, which will then go onto your PvE frame. So you'll be able to level that frame. You'll even get PvE gear, so that you'll have equipment to put on, so that you can just like you can, if you get to a point where you're like, huh, I'm level 20, I need to I want to go do some other things, or I want to take a break and run around. You'll have the gear to run around the open world or do some of the do new instance content, um, the narrative stuff, just as though you were just already doing that stuff.
that's pretty awesome. So for 2016, what other stuff do you guys have planned that what kind of stuff you can talk about? Not digging for leaks, but stuff that you guys are either about to share or you have already shared, maybe that some of the people in this audience might not be aware of, for 2016 changes.
2016 changes.
Or I guess I should even
I could,
say updates too. So as
yeah,
far
yeah,
as
yeah,
expansions or anything like that.
yeah. I know what you mean. Well, I could say that for the past couple of months, the company's major focus has been stabilizing this build and making sure that um, it can be as good as we can get it for launch. Some of the goals we're talking about for our future updates are, like we said, social content, army-based content, and repeatable content, stuff that you can, you have fun with uh, over and over, and you could do quite a lot. Like a good example of that is our new game mode, Holdout Jericho, or Jericho's the map. The game mode is Holdout, where it's basically like endless waves of chosen, and you just fight them until you either choose to leave or you get wiped. Um, so, kind of more of that stuff. Probably more PvP. Um, there's a lot of stuff that we want to do. It'll probably be a few weeks before I'm able to get with the leads and the team and talk about like what we actually want to do in terms of like the short term like plan. Because right now everyone's just uh, laser focused on this update 1.6.
Yeah, definitely that makes sense.
So let me ask. There's two things I want to ask about. So I'll give you both. You can kind of answer in whatever order you'd like. So first is with any MMO, you're always looking at expanding end game content. And I know Firefall is looking at something like elite ranks to help players already at max level. So A, talk a little bit about that, and for the veteran player experience. And then B, my second question is also going to be kind of going back to Jetball a little bit. You mentioned in the past, trying to do some tournaments. With the reworking of it, are you looking to is the company looking to get more into a little bit on the competitive side and get tournaments going for that with the new one?
Um, okay, so for Jetball, I know we're not actively going to be looking to get into tournaments or actively looking into esports. We're not even for the PvP preview. We're not even going to be able to do like the challenge modes where two teams can squad up against each other right away. We're just going to be doing matchmaking, so you can queue with your squad or by yourself for a match. Um, that's it's something that, hey, if it happens, if it gets to that point, then we'd be more than happy to go and support it. But it's not something that we're going to be pushing for or focusing on. It's going to wind up being totally up to the community. So if there's tons of people and that's something that they're going to want to take and run with, that and it could be, um, we'll be there to support them, but that's not a focus. Now for the max level content, yes, elite ranks. So for when you're max level in Firefall and you complete encounters, you still earn XP. Right now, you can't do anything with it. So everyone's like, "What's the point of me getting experience at max level?" And our response to that is now going to be elite ranks. It's not it's our own take on like other systems that do this kind of stuff where you take your max level experience. Each elite rank experience amount is static, so it's the same amount of time for each elite rank. There's no theoretical cap, and each one you get a list of options to take where you can improve your that battle frame stats. And elite ranks are battle frame specific. So if you have a raptor and a rhino, for example, at max level, and you're getting elite ranks on your raptor and you're getting stat bonuses on your raptor, that only applies to the raptor and not the rhino. You'll have to do the rhino separately. Um, but you can unlock perks from other battle frames. Previously, the only way to get perks from other battle frames was to level those battle frames, but you actually can get perks from those battle frames through the elite rank system, or unlock battle frames. That's another thing you can do. It will also give you sums of crystite, credits, experience packs, which you can use on other battle frames to progress them. I did a demo on a stream probably about a month ago, and I was obviously using dev hacks, but I just sat there and gave myself like 80 elite ranks, or and I unlocked uh, I unlocked an Accord battle frame, and then picked experience packs the whole way through. So I wasn't working on stat bonuses. I was picking experience packs every time it popped up. I managed to unlock an Accord battle frame, level it to 20, go into the advanced battle lab, and um, convert it to an advanced. I think it was a biotech, so I converted it to a dragonfly, and I switched back to the assault and kept on doing elite ranks, and then unlocked the recluse. So you can actually progress a character just by taking those XP packs and then applying them right to that character. So you don't have to go through that stuff. Obviously, it's going to take quite a few. I think it was 13 experience packs. It might be a little more last time, but yeah, that's the whole goal, is to give you alternate advancement. You can improve your stats and unlock other frames and get little sums of
Before
fortunes.
before you said that last part, I was going to say it, was really reminiscent of the system you were describing of EverQuest alternate advancement, and then you just said alternate advancement in the end. It's really cool because I've been waiting for other, and other persistent games, or other MMORPGs. Basically, I know Firefall's an MMOFPS, but I always thought the alternate advancement was a really cool system and feature of that game that you don't really see in a lot of other big name MMORPGs. So that's pretty cool to see because and the thing that I think really kind of makes you guys is a lot different and kind of cooler than what I've seen in the past is how you can use, keep progressing in one single frame and actually use it to kind of unlock, like you said, unlock new frames and experience in those and things and perks from other ones. That to me is really cool because I'm like a huge Nighthawk fan. I just snipe all day like that. I love that, but I do want to try the other stuff and getting to do the game style I like and actually unlock those other battle frames without having to actually go through like all the content that I've done before already with those. What is really it's really kind of cool too. But at the same time, you know, it's also cool that it's a little bit harder to do, so it still encourages people to get into those other frames and try the content out with those. Because I think that actually too is a big interesting thing about Firefall is the content is dynamic, kind of pops around and random like basically dynamic spawning and stuff like that. But a lot of the repetitiveness gets kind of beaten by if you start branching out into the other battle frames and stuff, it changes the way you have to actually attack each type of content. So that's one thing that I've always really thought was cool about it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so yeah, for the audience that's here, thank you for coming and hanging out on the show. If you guys have any questions while we kind of finish wrapping up this last 10, 15 minutes or so, drop them in the chat. We'll see them and we'll see if we can get Frank here to answer some of them. If he can, obviously, if you're just trying to get him to reveal stuff he can't, that's not going to happen. But yeah, if you guys have any legitimate questions that he can answer and you want to ask, go ahead and throw those in the chat, and we will make sure he gets those if we read them off to him or if he's watching chat and can see as well. But go ahead and ask those. Other words, we'll start kind of wrapping up towards the end of this show. I kind of mentioned earlier on in the show that, this is, Jeremy and I are kind of moving on from 10-Ton Hammer. It's kind of rough in the industry these days for games journalism. It's tough. Ad revenue is declining, so stuff like that it's just not cutting anymore. It's not paying the bills, not keeping the lights on. So, that's why Jeremy and I actually kind of came up with the idea to start branching out into Twitch some more, do some things to provide some unique content for you guys that, you couldn't get from other sites. And we felt like this show was, provides that. But unfortunately, it was one of those situations like, good idea, but too late, kind of. So we didn't quite get into it early enough. And, it's unfortunate. We really liked our team at 10-Ton Hammer, and we really love doing this show. As you guys can see, if you guys have been enjoying the show, it's pretty cool. We get to talk with developers in a way that's not that strictly formal interview that kind of makes it all uncomfortable and awkward. We like to sit and just talk games with developers and share that with you guys and give you guys the chance to participate and interact with the developers. So yeah, that's why I ask you for questions, and we love doing that. Unfortunately, this is our last episode of this specifically. I've been doing these kind of Twitch things a little bit more, so I'll be looking into kind of firing up a new show maybe that is in this similar vein. Jeremy might possibly be with me as well. I'm going to be reaching out to people, but yeah, I like doing this kind of stuff. I feel like this is some of the type of news and content that gamers enjoy, and it's a format that is a lot of fun. So, but yeah, it's our last episode. So if you guys haven't seen past episodes, they're not dramatically different from this one. There's probably a lot of tech failures in my past ones. You guys will get to laugh at muted audio and stuff like that. But other than that, really cool format, and I hope you guys enjoy what we've done. And if you follow us individually on Twitter, you'll be able to see where we land next and what we're up to next. And obviously, for our audience that's in here who does watch the show regularly and you're not familiar with Firefall, you guys can go check out that game. I'll drop the website for that in the chat. And then also I have a Frank's Twitch info. I mean, sorry, not Twitch. Twitter info, so you guys can follow him. He's the community manager for Firefall, and he'll be able to share stuff with you guys, talk about the game there, and direct you guys to where you can find the information you're looking for. So yeah, definitely we want to thank Frank for coming on. We do have a couple questions here. Ask Frank if they're planning any community events in the near future. So you guys have something on the
Ooh.
horizon there?
So community events, we've always tried, um, but they're always very difficult to run because your your uh, your reach is only like it only goes as far as the shard you're on. We try to get the only way we've gotten around that is getting the whole company involved in these events. So um, things that we've done in the past were the chosen offensive, where the whole company would be able to go in and transform themselves into giant chosen bosses and fight with the community. Um, that's something we know the community loves. That's something that we're excited about, and we might be thinking about doing something like that. Again, time permitting, we always have to make sure that we are working on the game for you guys as well. But uh, we are not adverse to that kind of fun stuff.
Definitely. Another one we have here is it's actually there's a couple of them here. I'm not sure which ones of these you can answer, but some people asking if the melding will remain a semi-conscious entity in the future, or will that change in the lore? And then the other one um, is the melding wall going to be shifted at any point in the current zones of like Coral Forest or Tau? Are there places waiting to be explored that I guess basically are your guys' expansion plans? Do you plan to maybe eventually add to some of those zones, or are you just going to add new zones entirely when you do, get to the point for more expansion?
So to answer the first question about the melding's existence, what the melding is has never changed. So, I don't think we plan on changing it. What it is a mystery. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm sure some people know some extra hidden things about it, but it's one of those things that we'd like to. We're gonna probably reveal more about it as we work to unfold more story in the game. Um, in terms of shifting the melding wall, um, those zones are pretty much set in their size. Uh, I think we can't really go much bigger than that without starting to stretch um, the content really thin because of the way the servers are and how many enemies we can spawn. We can handle in a zone at a given time. So uh, expanding those zones would be difficult. Um, Shifting, melding around, like having like um, little pockets is cool, but we don't have enough real estate left in those areas where it'd be very impactful. Um, how we're going to be adding more content, I don't see us pushing the melding back in Coral Force or Tau to reveal more. But I think we still need to work on how exactly we want to wrap and deliver like new zones or new areas. Um, so that's something that's still up for discussion internally, and I don't really have a great answer for that right now.
Another one here. Have you guys? I think you mentioned one already, but with deathmatch, what kind of PvP modes will follow Jetball in the future? Are there ones you guys have that you're working on? You can talk about, or ones you've had in the past that you want to revive as well?
The ones we've discussed we wanted to have are free for all deathmatch, team deathmatch, and this game mode called Hunter, which is more of like casual, like it's not really like an arena match or a team match. It's more of like a casual, like fun little experience against other players in a small enclosed space. And I think we're still working on that mode specifically. We had an idea for what we wanted it to be, but I think we're making some revisions to that idea. I haven't synced up with our PvP lead on that yet because once they told us to, we want to have a PvP preview for update 1.6, we were like, and then and then we said Jetball. All focus has gone into making sure Jetball is ready for this preview.
Another good question from the chat here is probably a little bit down the road, but if there's any plans for any real life Firefall products, really any merch, talking about, plushies, t-shirts, any sort of collectible items, that kind of thing.
Oh man, that'd be nice. We used to have not necessarily shirts, but we had like our original commander packs came with like a physical beanie and a poster. And obviously when we went to trade shows, we gave away like little Bronzodon plushies and uh, Thumper statues and t-shirts. Um, in terms of having merch, it's something we discussed where, but it always came down to fulfillment and being like, how do we want to tackle the fulfillment end of it? Um, we don't have any current plans to uh, release or sell any physical merch. Currently, we're just focusing on uh, selling in-game items.
I have a group of friends that I do another show with, Theory Forge. We talk about a lot of design stuff, but we've actually talked on this topic before in the past, and it's one thing I think it's worth mentioning here for a lot of players that players they like the little collectibles, their favorite games and stuff, but I think one thing a lot of players might not know is digital game development and the way that you market and produce and all the legal of that is like night and day different world than physical objects, how you handle legal things there and how you distribute and
Yeah.
all that. It's just a totally different chain. It really requires so much infrastructure in a lot of times. Like T-shirts is probably easy to do, but all the other stuff like that. It's a ton of stuff, and it really would it would eat a lot into money that would be going towards developing the game and making the game itself better. So it's one of those things. It's tough to tough to balance. Like even World of Warcraft, you look at its freaking monstrous juggernaut with Blizzard, and there's really not a ton of World of Warcraft merch either. I mean, you have a little bit, and then how much millions of dollars or billions of dollars have they made over the past decade? It's just totally different world. So just for
Yeah.
players to keep that in mind, it's not easy to do. Really, some of the best things with the way the internet has moved and Amazon and all these different things is you can actually there's a lot of sites and stuff where you can design stuff and share it, and it can be a fan made type thing. So yeah, you might want to look into options like that and seeing if you can get a bunch of people in the community involved, and you guys want to take that up yourself because it's totally possible to do, but it's one of those things that I don't think the game industry, especially a lot of smaller studios, you're just not equipped for that.
No, I mean, like, and the other thing is I'd say the majority of our fans play from Europe, and certain countries have interesting rules when it comes to importing goods and all that stuff, and it is a lot to consider, and it'd be I'd say horrible of us to make merch and say U.S. only, because we have such a strong fan base in Europe, and a lot of great and passionate fans out in that region that um, really love the studio and the game, and you know we always have to take them into consideration as well, which is an issue we ran into with founders packs, some of them not getting delivered, some of them like getting stuck in customs for like a month. So yeah, this is a whole thing, a whole other beast.
Yeah, I think it's why like if you're seeing other games coming out, there's a reason that most of Founders Pack items are digital because yeah, exactly what Frank was saying about having to deal with legal issues for other countries and stuff like that. So But yeah, anyways, we are getting towards the end of the show here. If I didn't get to your question, I think there was only maybe a couple that we weren't able to ask. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Go ahead and ask those questions on the forums. And, Frank, he's a pretty awesome guy. I'm sure he'll jump on those for you if he can. And yeah, thanks for coming to the show. I'm going to pass over to my co-staffer here, Jeremy, and go ahead and, I don't know, last show and everything. What are your plans for the future? It is pretty fresh still,
Uh,
so I'm not sure what you have in the
yeah.
works, but how do you want people to follow you?
Yeah, I will say that you know, the whole coming to an end at Tenton Hammer, it's still pretty new for Alex and myself. So exactly what'll be coming next for me, I'm not sure. I certainly hope to be able to remain in the industry in some capacity, somewhere in gaming. I've specialized more in competitive gaming, but I hope to stay within gaming. It's something I've been passionate about for pretty much my entire life. I've very much enjoyed my time here. So if you are interested, if you've enjoyed any of the content that I've done for Ten Ton Hammer, my Twitter handle's below my name here. Definitely follow me. I'll be updating anyone who's interested on what comes next. But yeah, we'll stay in touch. It's been a lot of fun. I've been with the company, started with esportsmax.com, but it's the same company that owns Ten Ton Hammer. Been doing it for about 2 years now. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Been glad to do it, and hope we'll be able to continue to do some cool stuff.
Same goes for me. Not really sure exactly what avenue I'm going to take. Just going to really explore my options. Kind of have a decently large family for somebody my age, so I'm going to be doing what's best for the family. But yeah, you follow my Twitter. I post everything there that I post, especially in regards to gaming. So check that out there. I believe I'm going to fire up a personal blog, and I'll get to it as much as I get to it, just because I know just in this past week when I haven't had work to do, I've been going to forums that I haven't gotten the chance to go into in a long time and just doing huge blogs and sharing my thoughts. So I'm going to actually put those and localize them in one place so you guys will be able to find my personal blog there soon. I'm going to work on getting a site up for that and running that. And then, yeah, actually, a lot of my writing time, I'm kind of excited because this, even though it's like kind of a bummer, but a happy moment at the same time, because I'm going to use some of this time, the next 3 months, to actually finish up a novel I've been working on. So, yeah, it should be getting closer to done. I would say 2016, I should be trying to shop publishers and get it out there. So, and you guys will be able to find out updates on that through Twitter as well. But yeah, games, I hope to stay in the games realm in some capacity, even if it's just me running my own personal blog. So, but yeah, enough ranting from me. You guys will get plenty of that if you follow my stuff and read it there. Um, but yeah, check out past episodes if you haven't seen it. Go ahead and support Ten Ton Hammer if you can. I'm not sure how long they'll be able to keep providing content, but yeah, they're a great company. Really enjoyed working for them, and definitely enjoyed this show specifically and working with Jeremy. We've had a great time together. So, but yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks to all the guests, past guests who have come on, and then obviously Frank. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about Firefall. We really enjoyed having you, and yeah, maybe there will be some opportunities to collaborate in the future. Maybe write some stuff. I'm sure I'll be mentioning Firefall in my blog at some point as I'm following things and following design in the industry. That's really, having a background in game design and going to college and stuff for that. I really love the design side of stuff. So I'll be writing about stuff like that. Some of the heavier topics, mechanics, systems, things like that. So if you guys love that kind of stuff, you can check out my blog that I'm going to put up, and Theory Forge as well. I do on Fridays. Not every Friday. It's usually every other. We do. With a group of friends, we just do heavy design talk. So if you love game design and you want to talk about that stuff with us, come participate. That's Theory Forge. It's twitch.tv/TheoryForge. I'll drop that in the chat, as well as Firefall's website. So yeah, thank you guys for coming and participating. And Frank, any last words from you? Anything you wanted to say? You want people to know about, be aware of over the next coming weeks?
Well, I just wanted to thank you guys for having me on your show. I love the format. I might be biased because it's the kind of format that really fits with me. I like the free flowing. You guys have been great. I really hope you guys do well, and I'll be definitely hit me up if you guys want to do other things, or and I'll be following, making sure, keeping tabs on you guys. So thanks a lot. And I really hope that as I guess as a closing thought, I really hope you guys do well, and I really hope that people come and try Firefall, and I hope everyone enjoys it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so
Nice.
much. We really appreciate it, and thanks for the kind words. For everybody else, we will see you on the flip side, I guess. No future episodes. So catch you guys later. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.